Good morning. Happy Sunday. There is money in the budget for food stamps because the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA, has a reserve supply of $6 billion that is for the purpose of emergency replacement of SNAP. That is the purpose of that reserve fund. Now, Donald Trump is not going to be using that. The Trump administration says it won't tap emergency funds to pay food aid. The move means 42 million people will miss SNAP benefits in November unless Congress acts. And this is the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, along with Donald Trump, the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, her department, and his department, because he's the president. They have decided that they are not going to use that emergency funds that are specifically for SNAP benefits. The contingency fund for SNAP currently holds roughly $5 billion, which would not cover the full $9 billion the administration would need to fund November benefits. Even if the administration did partially tap those funds, it would take weeks to dole out the money on a prorated basis. In order to make the deadline, the Trump administration would have needed to start preparing for partial payments weeks ago, which it has not done. So they control the government. They have the ability to use these funds, and they are choosing not to so that they can continue to blame the Democrats. Congressional Democrats and anti-hunger groups have urged the Trump administration to keep SNAP benefits flowing into November, some even arguing that the federal government is legally required to tap other funds to pay for the program. But senior officials have told Politico that using those other funds wouldn't leave money for future emergencies and other major food aid problems. Administration's officials expect Democratic governors and anti-hunger groups to sue over the decision to not tap the contingency fund, but the White House is blaming Democrats for the lapse in funding. Trump was asked by Politico Friday whether he wants Congress to pass a standalone bill on food aid, which they can do, but they have to do it next week, real quick, before November. This is purely Democrat. They're doing some very bad things. I think they're lost souls. Do you know what that is? They're lost souls. What I hope that people who see this video will do is share it, save it. And whenever you hear somebody, especially if you live in a red state and you hear somebody who is not educated about politics and how government works, right or wrong, whoever fault that is, the school system, whatever, that doesn't matter right now. They don't know what's going on. And all they're hearing is it's the Democrats' fault. You don't have to get really into a whole lot of details that will confuse them and overwhelm them. Just simply say the USDA, the government, the federal government has money set aside for this purpose. It's money set aside in an emergency fund for this purpose. They don't need the Democrats' permission to use it. They control the government. They can, and the Democrats would agree to this anyway. They're choosing not to use it. But meanwhile, we have the money to give $40 billion to Argentina, who has a right-wing dictator. And he is building a ballroom. Now, I know the ballroom is private donors, but I feel like that makes it worse because what's in it for them? And why is this a priority over feeding Americans if you do have that money to donate? So share this, save this, and spread the word. They have the money. The money to fund it is there, at least temporarily. They're choosing not to use it. They're choosing to hurt Americans.